As the MLB Championship Series just wrapped up and the World Series is soon underway, let's talk Dodgers and Rays and preview what's to come.
Week 6 in the NFL just wrapped up. We'll take a look at who the best and worst teams in the league are so far.
So get ready. We have all that and more tonight. Sports Paws starts right now. Welcome to Sports Paws. We thank you for joining. I'm Kylicia Smith.
And I'm John Surrat. Let's jump right into this. Let's swing into the MLB playoffs as the Championship Series in both the American League and National League gets started. We'll get started with the Houston Astros and Tampa Bay Rays as the Rays held a 3-0 lead, but Houston climbed their way back, forcing a Game 7. Let's see who came out victorious. Moving on to the World Series. As we'll start to the bottom of the first, and Randy Arozarena stays hot. He hits that 2-run home run, giving the Rays a 2-0 lead, and Mike Zunino in the bottom of the second does the same, getting a home run, making it 3-0 Tampa Bay. But we'll go to the top of the 8th now. Bases loaded, Carlos Correa gets a single, 2 RBI there for the Astros, making it 4-2 in the top of the 8th. Correa is hyped, but still with 2 on, 2 outs. Bregman strikes out swinging. 4-2 going into the 9th. Here's the last hope here for the Astros. It's popped out into the outfield, and the Rays are moving on to their second ever franchise World Series, winning that 4-2 as they all celebrate after a long postseason drought. They're moving on, winning 4-2.
So we're going to go from the American League Championship Series to the National League Championship Series. Game 7 of the Dodgers versus the Braves. It was a wild one. See for yourself. Game 7 of the NLCS Braves versus Dodgers. Let's see who will be taking a trip to the World Series to face the Tampa Bay Braves. Top of the second, Braves lead 1-0, and Dansby Swanson takes the 1. Deep, Braves up by 2. Bottom of the third, now Will Smith hits a single right to the field. Turner and Muncy are going to score. A collision at the plate, and we got a tie ball game. Mookie Betts definitely approves. Top of the 4th, now Austin Riley is going to plant one in shallow center field. And here comes Albie. He'll slide in there to give the Braves the lead. Top of the 5th, now Freddie Freeman hits an absolute bomb, but Mookie Betts says, I'll take that. Mookie Betts making the beautiful home run robbing grab. Top of the 5th now, bottom of the 6th now, Enrique Hernandez trying to get something going for the Dodgers and hits a moonshot. This game is tied. Bottom of the 7th now, Cody Bellinger steps up to bat and talk about the clutch. He knows this one is gone. Dodgers lead 4-3. Last chance. Now for the Dodgers. This one is up, but not enough. The Dodgers will advance to the World Series for the 3rd time in 4 years. The celebration is real.
Now, after those series wrapped up over the weekend, let's look and see the MLB playoff bracket going into the World Series here. We have the Dodgers and Rays, the top seeds in both leagues, going and facing off against each other. Long postseason extended, as many more teams were in this playoffs than years prior, as the Rays, of course, beat the Astros and the Dodgers beat the Braves before that. And now we'll look at the preview for the World Series and what the games are up to come for the Rays against the Dodgers. As we'll take a look here. 1 second, Game 1 tomorrow at 8:09 p.m. Then Game 2 will be Wednesday following. And then Game 3, no Thursday game, but it'll be Friday. And then it'll be Saturday. And then if there's more games to come, those will be scheduled later on.
Now we're done with the mound. Let's move on to the yard lines. Week 6 of NFL Sunday football. Browns versus Steelers. Those Steelers sure did steal that game. Let's take a look. Browns versus Steelers. Lots of bad blood between these two. Both 4-1. We start out this one in the second quarter. Steelers up by 10. Big Ben is going to hand this one off to James Conner, and he'll take it in for 6 to extend the lead to 17. Later on in the second, Big Ben takes the snap, pump fakes, and unleashes a bomb to a wide open James Washington for the touchdown. This first half is all Steelers. 1 minute left before half, and Baker Mayfield erases the 0 from the board. He finds a wide open Rashad Higgins for the touchdown. Late in the third now, Claypool taking the handoff on the end around, and he'll find the pylon touchdown. Steelers to extend their monster lead.
He's been going off lately as well.
Fourth quarter, Steelers continue to pour it on this team. It's backup running back Benny Snell finding the end zone. This one is getting ugly. Make it stop. Steelers put up a beat down on the Browns, 38-7. They start the season 5-1.
From Pittsburgh to Charlotte, the Carolina Panthers on a 3-game winning streak, hosting the Chicago Bears, who are sitting at 4-1. Time to see who stayed hot, as we'll get started. Some fans here at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, as the Panthers are at their 1 yard line. Teddy Bridgewater stepping back, gets deflected, and the Bears get a pick right away in their own end zone. Not a good start for the Panthers there. Nick Foles, Super Bowl MVP a few years ago, he'll find Cole Kmet. He makes that contested touchdown there, giving the Bears a 7-0 lead. Bunch of field goals later, Cairo Santos here hitting a 55-yard field goal as time expires in the first half, making it 13-6. And now we'll be in the second half. Nick Foles, he'll take himself into the end zone, making it 20-6. But the Panthers do have an answer here. Mike Davis coming in for McCaffrey over the past few weeks. He'll score, making it 20-13 early in the fourth quarter. But Bridgewater getting the ball down 7. Can he go anywhere? No, he throws the pick. The Bears hold on, winning 23-16. They'll move to 5-1.
Now that week 6 is just wrapped up, it's time to get into these standings. For the AFC, we have Pittsburgh Steelers at the top with a 5-0 overall record and 3-0 conference record. Followed behind is the Tennessee Titans at number 2, a 5-0 record as well, but a 4-0 conference record, and the Baltimore Ravens coming in at 3rd, with the Chiefs and Bills trailing behind in 4th and 5th. Now for the NFC, we've got, of course, the Seattle Seahawks in the number 1 spot with an overall 5-0 record and 3-0 conference record. Behind them in second, the Chicago Bears coming in with the 5-1 record with a 5-0 conference record. Followed behind are the Green Bay Packers in their overall record of 4-1. And we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as number 4 and the LA Rams as number 5.
Now after week 6, it's time to see the upcoming games for week 7 in the NFL. We'll start with Thursday night as 2 NFC East teams in the New York Giants and Philadelphia Eagles start off Thursday night. Both haven't started off great, but neither is the division's early Sunday game. Panthers Saints at 1. Middle of the day, Cardinals Seahawks. Sunday night, Brady goes against the Las Vegas Raiders in Vegas, and then Monday night caps it off with the Bears and the Rams in Los Angeles. Now we would like to welcome our analyst, Dylan Sumner, to the show. Dylan, how's it going?
It's going good, John.
That's great to hear. Now, Dylan, through the first 6 weeks of the NFL, who is the worst team in the NFL in your eyes?
Well, John, the worst team in the NFL in my eyes has to be the New York Jets. Starting the season at 0-6 is never a good sign, and without a good caliber quarterback or running back, I mean, where is this team supposed to go? Quarterback Sam Darnold has been dealing with a shoulder injury for some time now and has been sidelined for the 2nd straight week. Veteran quarterback Joe Flacco will get another start to prove his worth to the Jets. Meanwhile, New York recently released former Pro Bowler Le'Veon Bell. The Kansas City Chiefs quickly pounced on Bell for little money, so he will plan to get his revenge on the Jets in Week 8. In terms for statistics, Jets rank last in points scored and are also part of the bottom tier of points scored against. At this point, Jets fans should turn their focus to next year's draft in hopes that General Manager Joe Douglas can find some promising prospects for them.
So Dylan, since the Jets are the worst team, who do you think is the best team in the NFL right now?
Well, Kylicia, there's a lot of good teams in the NFL right now, but if I had to pick one, it would be the Baltimore Ravens. They are starting the season at an amazing record of 5-1. And speaking of that, they were first place last year in the AFC for the division. Despite losing to the Kansas City Chiefs early on, the Ravens have been steamrolling their opponents all season long. MVP quarterback Lamar Jackson is continuously putting up high numbers on the scoreboard with both his arm and legs. In addition, the Baltimore defense have only allowed opponents to score 76 points on them, which is the lowest amount in the NFL. Rookie linebacker Patrick Queen has already made a big impact on the field with 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, and 1 touchdown. Thus, the Ravens are heading in the right direction with their MVP quarterback and defense, and they should be good for the rest of the season.
I may have to agree with you on that pick for the Ravens, Dylan, but before we let you go, in the NFL, COVID-19 has definitely impacted the league in only 6 weeks. What has happened in the league so far regarding COVID-19, and how have teams needed to adapt going into the season?
Well, for COVID-19's sake, the pandemic has hit the NFL hard. Games are being postponed, rescheduled, and even canceled. The Tennessee Titans being the main team out of this, with multiple members of the Titans testing positive for COVID-19, and the NFL has had to investigate whether the team is actually following the protocols or not. In addition, the Titans players are secretly practicing at a local high school while the team have positives in terms of cases. The Titans could be in jeopardy now for violating the NFL's conditions. Meanwhile, the New England Patriots, Cam Newton and Stephon Gilmore have also tested positive for COVID-19. And in a result of that, the New England game against the Chiefs was postponed to Monday night when it was originally scheduled for Sunday. Now, the Colts, Jaguars, and Falcons all have had to close their facilities in a response of the pandemic. So the question to ask is, how are the NFL going to limit the number of positive cases? And if not, is the season in peril?
Well, I guess time will tell. Thanks, Dylan, for that NFL report. Alrighty, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. But when we come back, we have an interview with Quinnipiac women's basketball head coach Trisha Fabry.
As well, we have a Quinnipiac women's basketball analyst talking about what's to come for next season.
Stay tuned.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
They call me Prince like I'm royalty or something. But the places I've lived ain't no palaces. So I don't need grilled salmon or a new scratching post. Just give me a cardboard box and a can of tuna and we're good. You can even change my name. I'm cool being the kitty formerly known as Prince.
Welcome back. We still have a ton to talk about, so thank you for staying tuned. As the MAC and college basketball season are going to be resuming action in the coming months, Quinnipiac women's basketball head coach Trisha Fabry talked with the media over the week about how the team has been practicing and preparing for the season ahead.
The process to increase practice times for Quinnipiac women's basketball is still ongoing, but head coach Trisha Fabry is just glad to be in the gym.
Being back on the court has been phenomenal, and it's been a very strategic ramp up. 5 weeks of small bites, small chunks, week to week has been fantastic, and we have been enjoying and working every minute to make our season, the best it can be.
To Fabry, facing a challenge like a global pandemic has not altered this group of Bobcats in the preparation for a new season.
Our returning players through this 7 months of being home came back and really fit, from Shaq, Mac DeWeese, Michaela Morris, Katara Haywood. These young ladies really took to heart what it's going to take to come back and be ready.
For the first time, the first years on the Quinnipiac women's basketball team are living alongside the returning players right here on the York Hill campus. This new living situation has developed a stronger relationship on the team before they even step onto the court.
We were able to put our two rookies, each of the two rookies for a total of 4, in with upperclassmen this year, which is something I've never done here at Quinnipiac. With that being said, it naturally and organically grew.
Quinnipiac will get the chance to test their chemistry with the first games of the season against UConn, Maine, and Mississippi State in the end of November. Eric Kerr, Q30 Sports.
So now we have Eric Kerr in the flesh right here in the studio to talk about our Lady Bobcats basketball team. Eric, how are you doing today?
Oh, Kai, John, I'm doing fantastic. Happy to be here. Let's get right to it.
That's great. So Eric, who are the top players to watch out for this upcoming season for the Bobcats?
Well, I think, Kai, there's 2 players you got to look out for here, and these are 2 players that are coming back to this team after being first-year players last year. We're looking at Michaela Morris being one and Kylicia Hayward being the second. I'll start with Michaela Morris first. Now, she is someone who, if you've seen her screen, MAC all-rookie team in 2020, and for a good reason, because she is a presence out there on the floor, dominating on both sides, mainly the offensive end. Whenever she gets in the low post, teams have to double-team Michaela Morris because she is just that much of a beast out there. The one thing I do want to see from her is if she could be able to pass out of the post this year to be able to set up different offensive opportunities for other Bobcats in the team. Kylicia Hayward is another big one as well. She was a big scorer for this team last year, including some big point per game performances, including against Quinnipiac, 19 points per game, averaging 7.8 last season. Also a MAC all-rookie team selection as well. So with Kylicia Hayward, you got to look at her size, being a 6'2" forward, to come out here and really makes a big offensive presence as well on the defensive side as well. So I'm looking at these 2 players to really step up for this Quinnipiac team this year.
Now, Eric, the team definitely had some big changes and losses in the offseason, namely Taylor Hurd and Paige Warfel. Who do you think will be the hardest to replace for this season upcoming?
Well, John, I'm going to pick the latter of what you chose there, and that's going to be Paige Warfel. The reason being is because with Taylor Hurd, you can find ways to replace three-point shooting, but it's very, very hard to replace rebounding, and that's what Paige Warfel gave to this team. Averaging 11.1 rebounds per game, leading the team in rebounds, and also a 4.5 rebound per game average, which is able to generate a lot of possessions for her team. So that's a major big stat you got to look at for there, because if you don't have someone getting rebounds in there, then that's going to be a major cause for lack of extra possessions for the team. So to be the next Paige, you got to look at people like potentially Michaela Morris. As I mentioned earlier, she was second on the team last year in rebounds at 6.5 rebounds per game. And also looking at other players on the team like Nasserine William, who is a 6'1" forward center, recruit from Massachusetts. Now, the funny thing with William is that, she has the size to be a forward and a center out there, but she's also someone that, according to the high school tapes, that she can come out here and handle the ball like a guard. So it'll be interesting to see if she can carry that over to the collegiate game, but I'm very excited to see what young players like William and returning players like Morris can do on the rebounding side.
So going from the top players to the biggest loss, what can Bobcat Nation expect to see from this year's team?
So Kai, my prediction this year, last year, I'll mention that earlier, finished around third place, tied for third place in the conference. I think they're going to finish around the same spot this year. And I think they're going to be kind of around the same spot as Manhattan and Fairfield. Last year's top two teams, Ryder and Marist, lost some key seniors. Ryder most notably was Stella Johnson, the MAC's leading scorer last year, and Marist losing key seniors like Grace Vanderwade, Rebecca Hand, and Alana Gilmer. So who's going to be in the top two spots? Well, it's going to be the two teams that were tied with Quinnipiac in the third spot last year, Manhattan and Fairfield. Manhattan has a powerful 1-2 punch in Emily LaPointe and Courtney Worley, a good guard and a good center for them. Both Worley being a MAC first team selection, and of course Emily LaPointe being the unanimous MAC Rookie of the Year last season. And then on the Fairfield side, you have Lou Lopez-Senecal and Katie Armstrong, both solid scores for them as well. Lou Senecal finished with all MAC first team, while Armstrong all MAC second team. So at the end of the day, I think this MAC is wide open this year considering those key losses for the top two teams. It's going to be a tough battle, but I think right now Quinnipiac finishes at third. But at the end of the day, it's wide open, guys.
Thanks, Eric. Great analysis as always. And even though the Quinnipiac women's basketball team is coming in with some loss of key players, let's look at some of the team's first years and what they'll bring to the table this upcoming year. So we'll look here. Quinnipiac women's basketball team will have 4 new first years coming into the program with Haley Smith, Nasreen William, who Eric mentioned, Tiara White, and Jillian Casey. Definitely looking for some of these Bobcats to step up for the team who struggled a little bit last year in the MAC from previous years.
As we look back in time, there are a couple of monumental things that occurred this week in history that we would like to reminisce. It will be 4 years to date ever since Quinnipiac defeated UConn 5-2 back in 2016 under the current head coach Rand Pecknell. That's back when we had the infamous Landon Smith, Craig Martin, Chase Prisky, and Tim Clifton. Man, those were the times. The Bobcats have continued to dominate them ever since, continuing their 5-game winning streak. And if all goes as planned, hopefully they will get the chance to do it again. And it will be 7 years ago on Sunday that Quinnipiac had TD Bank Sports Center upgraded with the new high-definition video experience scoreboard. The overall design and tech was spearheaded by ANC Sports Enterprises. The new scoreboard allowed fans to experience an incredible view of the live game, and the students the opportunity to learn and assist with the various components designed by the ANC.
Now when we come back, we'll be right back going over some of the biggest college football games over the weekend.
We will also discuss some of the biggest NHL offseason signings and trades.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
One in 3 adults has pre-diabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your favorite brother, your other brother, you, your football buddy, your football buddy, you, the boss's boss. If 1 in 3 adults has pre-diabetes, that means it could be you, your barber, your barber's barber.
Nice work.
Thanks.
You, your plumber,
Breathe right into your foot.
your plumber's masseuse.
Yes.
You, your dog walker,
On your left.
your cat jogger. Or you, your co-pilot, your co-pilot's co-pilot. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org to know where you stand.
One more block to go. Thanks for staying with us as we take a look from the weekend at some college football. As there was a ton of big games, however, the biggest news was not even a game. It was that number 2 ranked Alabama football's head coach, Nick Saban, tested positive for COVID-19. There was doubt if he would be able to coach against the number 3 ranked Georgia Bulldogs, but after 3 consecutive negative tests, he was able to return to the sideline for the Crimson Tide. Let's see who came out victorious. Here we go. Alabama, the best offense in the country versus Georgia, the best defense, number 2 and 3 in the country, as I mentioned. Saban going on to the sideline. As here is Mac Jones. He takes the snap and launches it deep to John Mechie III. He'll start the scoring here, getting in the end zone for the Crimson Tide, making it 7-0. However, later in the first quarter, Stetson Bennett and the Georgia Bulldogs gives it to Zamir White. He'll get in there for the touchdown, tying it up 7-7 into the second quarter. Georgia's offense showing out here as Stetson Bennett finds James Cook. Usually Georgia's defense are the one making highlight reel plays, but James Cook brings that all the way down, making it 14-7. But Mac Jones and the Alabama Crimson Tide down 7 as he'll find Devontae Smith in the back of the end zone there, tying it up 17-7. But here come the Bulldogs at the 6-yard line. Stetson Bennett drops back, finds Jermaine Burton, slowing it down there for you. He'll haul it in, making it 24-17 right before half. Later in the third quarter, though, Mac Jones, as Bama is down 4, Mac Jones finds Jalen Waddle, beats his defender. Corner will fall down. He'll score, making it 27-24. And at the end, Alabama will win 41-28.
All right, let's go to Davis Wade Stadium at Scott Field in Starkville, Mississippi, where the Mississippi State Bulldogs didn't quite take the home victory against the Texas A&M Aggies. Let's get into the first quarter. KJ Costello drops back and is picked off by the A&M cornerback who prevents the touchdown. Tied at 0. Late first quarter, later on in the quarter, Isaiah Spiller takes the ball from Kellen Mond and slices through the defense for a long run. Early second quarter, A&M threatening, and it's Isaiah Spiller who is going to find the end zone off of the short run play. Texas A&M leads 7-0. Early second quarter, it is once again Isaiah Spiller who is going to weave his way into the end zone, taking A&M taking the lead 14-0. Middle of the early third quarter, Texas A&M with the ball, and Kellen Mond drops back and finds Chase Lane. Now let's take a look at the AP rankings after the Week 7 of NCAA football. We've got Clemson taking the number 1 slot with their 5-0 record. Bama and their 4-0 overall record coming in second. Notre Dame ranked as number 3 and Georgia ranked as number 4 with their 3-1 record, the one coming from their loss on Saturday.
Well, that's all the time we're going to have for tonight. Be sure to stay tuned into next week on Sports Paws as you make sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Q30 Television as well, to make sure to download our new Q30 app, available now on the App Store.
For John Surrat and everyone behind the scenes, I'm Kylicia Smith. We thank you for watching. Have a great night.